What kind of experience could cause a young boy to completely fall into depravity? He witnessed his foster father being murdered, but the police identified him as the killer. This group of self-proclaimed righteous individuals had no interest in uncovering the truth and sent him to the execution ground. Not even the one who once claimed to love him is willing to believe him now. In the moment he was pushed into the abyss, the protagonist was completely disheartened. "I promise I'll come back." He resolved to take revenge on everyone. During the continuous fall, the protagonist lost consciousness. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself standing on a small mountain of trash. Before he could figure out what was happening, several enormous monsters suddenly appeared behind him. The protagonist knew he couldn't fight them and could only rely on his instincts to flee desperately. But he didn't get far. He was blocked by a monster. The protagonist then realized that these monsters were actually made from scraps of trash. Just as he dodged the monster's attack, a skull suddenly appears before the protagonist. It seems that many people have died here. At this moment, fear and anger surged through the protagonist's heart. He didn't expect that revenge hadn't even begun yet. This was truly the end. At that moment, the garbage pile suddenly collapsed. A large amount of dust mixed with harmful gases emitted from the garbage, making the protagonist almost unable to breathe. He planned to hold his breath and run to a fresher place, but all he could see was an endless sea of trash. The overwhelming despair made the protagonist abandon the idea of giving up. The polluted air immediately caused him to cough up blood. The smell of blood attracted the monster again. In his despair, the protagonist recalled the gruesome death of his foster father. With such a great vendetta unavenged, how could I simply give up? This intense sense of injustice awakens some latent potential in the protagonist. He casually picked up an iron pipe and stood up straight again. All of this was observed by a mysterious person wearing a gas mask with a stern expression. He is quite interested in the protagonist's abilities, but the protagonist knows nothing about it. He forcefully throws the water pipe away. It pierced the monster's neck, but it was like scratching an itch for it. The monster swatted him away with a single swing of its hand. The protagonist was too busy trying to survive. He grits his teeth, picks up the traffic light, and throws it back. It hits the monster's arm, breaking it, but he coughed up blood due to his rapid breathing. But the blood dripped onto the metal sheet, seemed to react strangely with his gloves. But the protagonist had only been down for a few seconds. A new monster suddenly emerged from the trash heap. Then the monster stomped its feet on the ground. The airwave from the trash flips the protagonist to the ground. Fortunately, at the critical moment, a mysterious figure appeared in time to save the protagonist's life. Watching the protagonist's hesitant expression, the mysterious figure grabbed the protagonist by the arm and kicked him hard. The kick knocked the blood out of his lungs. The mysterious man then puts a gas mask on the male lead, allowing him to breathe normally. The protagonist hurriedly asked who he was. The man only made a gesture, signaling the male lead not to make a sound. But the male lead's mind was filled with questions. He kept asking where this place was. What's the deal with those monsters? The man sighs and quietly reminds the male lead to stay quiet, but the protagonist kept chattering on and on. The man also felt a sense of longing. Just as the male lead saw, these monsters are all made from trash. No matter how many times you hit them with ordinary weapons, it's useless. They can all come back to life again. They are highly sensitive to human voices. Therefore, the man kept his voice low. But this time he was provoked by the male lead and lost control, despite his roar attracting a large group of beasts. But he felt much better inside. He immediately activated his ability, entered battle mode.
大声出したらすっきりしたわってことで大掃除すっか
At this moment, the protagonist noticed that the class beast knocked down by that man had not get back up. It seems that it was thanks to the umbrella. The male lead is truly envious of the man's formidable skills. If he could be that powerful too, maybe he could take revenge on those people from the celestial realm. Just as he was thinking about this, the male lead suddenly snapped back to reality. The man also aimed his umbrella at the last lever.
Unbreaker, Yosaki.
After eliminating these monsters, the man also removed his mask. He briefly introduced himself to the male lead, saying his name was Enking. He was just an unremarkable janitor. Before he could even finish looking cool, the foul odor nearly made him vomit. He quickly put on a mask and breathed heavily. He was about to scold the male lead, but the male lead suddenly fainted due to the ordeal. When he opened his eyes, he realized he was bound by gratitude. The male lead was furious and ordered Grace to let go. He is in a hurry to return to the celestial realm to settle accounts with those people, but the male lead understands this friendship in his heart. The celestial realm is located above the sky. Its location is constantly changing. The male lead has almost no chance of returning. The male lead hears this and realizes that the favor must know something, so he tells him to spill everything. Seeing the male lead rambling on again, Enking decided to make him face reality as soon as possible. Then Enking left the male lead alone at the gas station and departed. The people inside saw the male lead wearing celestial attire, and they were all excited. After all, this was the first time they had ever seen a real celestial being. They quickly untied the male lead. The male lead initially thought he had encountered kind-hearted people, but the next year, these people used even harsher methods to tie him up. It turned out that they were worried that tying him too loosely would allow the male lead to escape. After all, in the lower realm, heavenly beings are quite precious, especially living ones. Their prices are astronomical. The people here are already fed up with their habit of throwing trash down below. They're completely fed up. Therefore, some people are willing to pay a fortune to buy living celestial beings, just to torture them for fun. To vent their anger in this way, after speaking, he casually pulled out some kitchen waste and shoved them into the male lead's mouth non-stop. To make the male lead, this high and mighty celestial being, understand what they usually eat, the male lead didn't hesitate and bit off the man's 2 fingers. Then he devoured the leftovers. After all, even celestial knights have their ranks and distinctions. For the male lead who grew up in the slums, these were simply edible ingredients.
お前らの都合で勝手に分別してんじゃねえ。こっちが黙ってりゃ好き放題しやがって。もう俺は我慢しねえぞ。
This scene deeply moved Enking, who was watching from afar. This time he was definitely not mistaken. The male lead, like him, was also someone who understood human speech, and what it meant to be proficient was to be able to give life to objects and use their power. Human traffickers don't care if he's human or not. He dared to bite off his finger. Now he must die here. But facing the out-of-control male lead, these human traffickers are completely no match for him.
おいマジか。使えるもの一つじゃねえのかよ。
So the male lead easily disposed of this group of henchmen and returned to the old place. But just as he was about to settle down at the old place, during this time, the male lead finally regained his senses. After the male lead loses his abilities, the boss is knocked unconscious by a falling brick. At this moment, the male lead is bleeding from his nose due to overusing his abilities. If not for Enking's timely intervention, he might have died from overexertion. He sold the male lead to human traffickers. It was precisely to confirm the male lead's abilities. The answer has now been obtained. Enking also extended an invitation to the male lead.
教えてやれよ。この世界のこと、その力のこと。その代わり、掃除屋に入れ。お前は掃除屋に必要な人材だ。
嫌だ。